The main theme of the poem, The Trees by Adriana Rich, is to show the conflict between man and nature. It also shows transformation, growth, and liberation. Here in this poem, the poetess has used imagery of trees moving from an enclosed space to open forest, which is the natural habitat of trees or the home of trees. This symbolizes a profound journey of change and liberation. The trees represent both individual and collective experiences of breaking free from constraints and embracing authenticity, undergoing a transformative process. In this poem, we see emphasis on the idea of movement, both physical and metaphorical. So, as the trees disengage from their confined spaces and they move into the open forest, this movement shows a shift from stagnation and a limitation to vitality and freedom. And then next, the image of roots. They are working to disengage themselves from the cracks, and then the leaves, they are straining toward the glass. This reflects the effort and determination which is very much required for any transformation to occur. Then the theme of liberation is there, as we say, the comparison, the analogy, that is been the analogy of the analogy of the patience to the boughs of the trees. So we see that just like a newly discharged patient, he wants to go home as soon as possible. A discharged patient wants to be free from the hospital. Similarly, the trees which have been confined to the walls, to a small space, they now want to move, they want to merge with nature, they want to be free and liberated. So the analogy makes sure that we can analyze, the comparison is there to show. So the next, this analogy shows the vulnerability, the uncertainty and hope as the trees transition from confinement to a new phase of existence. Then we can say at last ki, the main central idea is about embracing change, overcoming limitations, and stepping into a state of greater authenticity and growth and development. So the poem's imagery and symbolism makes us reflect on our own journeys of transformation, the challenges we have faced, the rewards we have received for breaking free from the norms and our personal constraints. The trees inside are moving out into the forest. The forest that was empty all these days, where no bird could sit, no insect hide, no sun bury its feet in shadow. The forest that was empty all these nights will be full of trees by morning. So, in this stanza, the poet is talking about a big change, transformation, which is about to happen. So, the trees are inside a small space, they are confined to a small space, and now they are moving out into the open forest, which is their home, their natural habitat. And this movement signifies growth, change, and liberation. Okay, so the forest, the trees were not in the forest, so it affected the other elements of nature as well. They could not help the other elements of nature as well, like the it was the trees were the place where birds could rest and the insects could hide. But now, since the trees were confined, they there was no action at all. They were empty. These day and nights were empty. Nothing was happening, no change was taking place, no life, no action was there. Now this emptiness shows things not moving or stagnation. Okay, so but now the change is about to happen. So, man, by cutting trees for his own selfish needs, had harmed the other elements of nature also, or we could say it had disturbed the whole ecology. But now, by the break of dawn, the trees will fill up the forest. So, again, the forest will come alive, and by moving out, the trees are making the land fresh and strong. This change is shown as a kind of restart where there were the forests were once empty, now they will soon be full of life and energy. All night, the roots work to disengage themselves from the cracks in the veranda floor. So, here in this stanza, again, the poet is describing the process of the roots. I mean, the roots of the trees are working tirelessly all night to disentangle themselves from the cracks of the veranda floor. So, you can see that the metaphor for overcoming limitations, physical and metaphorical, are used to achieve growth and liberation. So the cracks in the veranda floor, they are representing the barriers or obstacles that have confined the trees. And the tireless efforts of the roots to disengage themselves is showing the determined and persistent struggle required for freedom and growth. The leaves strain toward the glass, small twigs stiff with exertion, long cramped boughs shuffling under the roof like newly discharged patients half dazed moving to the clinic doors. The leaves are described as straining toward the glass, suggesting a strong desire to break free and reach the outside world, while the small twigs and the boughs are portrayed as stiff and they are exerting themselves. This shows the physical exertion and determination of the trees to achieve their goal. The analogy to the newly discharged patients moving to clinic doors, it adds a kind of imagery. It shows that the patients are leaving a medical facility cautiously and hesitantly, but they wish to go back home. Similarly, the trees are also hopeful and are looking forward to a change, a new phase of existence, and they also want to go out to their home, their forest. I sit inside, doors open to the veranda, writing long letters in which I scarcely mention the departure of the forest from the house. The night is fresh, the whole moon shines in a sky still open. The smell of leaves and lichen still reaches like a voice into the rooms. The poet is in an introspective mood and she is sitting inside but with the doors open to the veranda, suggesting that though inside, she is still connected to the outside world. The poet tries to bridge the gap between her inner thoughts, her reflective experience, and the external world. This shows a connection between self discovery and external awareness. The poet writes long letters without mentioning the movement of the trees into the forest. So the poet observes the departure of the trees. She realizes the transformation, the power of the trees, but she is not at all astonished in a way. The night is fresh and the moon is shining in the sky. And even though the trees have left the house, the smell of leaves and lichen can still be smelled inside the rooms. It's like a voice speaking to us, giving a reminder that the trees once they were inside the house. This represents the everlasting impression, the lasting impression of nature. My head is full of whispers, which tomorrow will be silent. Listen, the glass is breaking, the trees are stumbling forward into the night. Winds rush to meet them. The moon is broken like a mirror, its pieces flash now in the crown of the tallest oak. The poet says that her head is full of flurry of thoughts, ideas, and emotions, these which will fade away tomorrow. So, this transient moment of introspection or contemplation will definitely change tomorrow. They will fade away. These emotions will fade away in future, and the speaker's state of mind will definitely change tomorrow. The poet says, listen, the glass is breaking. She draws the attention of the readers to the changes about to take place. The glass is breaking shows the shattering of a barrier or overcoming an obstacle. So the trees have broken the glass of the house and they are moving forward into the night. So this is a continuation of the metaphor of trees being in motion, breaking free from their confines. And the word stumbling implies a sense of uncertainty or the challenges of a transformation taking place. The wind's rush to meet them adds an element of energy, a forward momentum suggesting a force of nature propelling the trees towards their new destination. It shows that the winds are also too eager to meet the trees. They're rushing forward, they're moving more than their ability, they will double the speed to meet the trees. The trees have grown so much that they have broken the moon like a mirror. This suggests a striking change in the natural order. The pieces of the moon now kind of flash on the head of the tallest oak in the forest. This imagery shows the idea of change or a new perspective on the world. So, the phrases used here, like the breaking glass, moving trees, rushing winds, shattered moon, they all contribute to the atmosphere of transformation and transition. The imagery conveys a feeling of urgency and movement, so inviting readers to reflect on the fleeting nature of moments and the profound shifts that life can bring. It also shows that if man does not stop harming nature, nature will become a rebel and it will have a detrimental effect on all of us. So let's stop using nature for our selfish needs. Let's stop controlling it or trying to overpower it. Let's set nature free as we all are, as we all desire to be free. Let's bring about the change and see the world in a new perspective.